Hello everyone, so I wanted to go and do this review for episode 123 and 124 of Cardfight Vanguard, and the main reason I wanted to go and do this was because there was a couple things I wanted to mention and talk about, and some things that just really stood out to me. And the reason I'm doing a review for 2 episodes instead of just 1 is simply because for this particular anime, on the dub side of things at least, they actually release 2 episodes at a time instead of just 1, which is really nice overall. Now, this episode started out the way the last one ended, which is with Nokia actually winning the match, which was really great to see, not just for the fact that he won, but also because of the fact that he's actually fought against this person before, and since he lost to that person last time, and to see in such little time for him to come this far and get this much better and stronger, and win against them this time was really great overall. And the other thing is that for the longest time he has set a goal for himself to prove himself worthy and useful to the team. So to see him win this and help the team and accomplish his goal was really great for him, and I was really happy to see that overall. Now, shortly after that, we start getting to the point where Corin was starting her match, and, she started out, in the beginning, starting to do really badly, or at least, starting to really get beaten. And, even though, there was a lot of doubt and everything, at least from 2 members of the team, Aichi and one other person, they were just like, just look at her, does she look like someone that has given up already, and she had a lot of confidence, and she just kept on fighting, and she was a really strong-willed person, and to see her, be that strong and not doubt herself at all was really good. And, see that her team backed her up after all, it was really great to see as well. And, when we started getting back into the game, she started getting really, not exactly emotional, but she started getting flashbacks and stuff, and we started seeing some really good signs of character development. And one of the favorite things that I really saw her mention was the fact that Aichi inspired her to enjoy card fighting again. And to hear that was really great to see, and it really gives us a good idea as to, why she's sticking really close to Aichi, and, why she cares about him so much and everything. And, it's a really great thing to actually see, and I really love the fact that she's starting to show that a little bit, and see her, consider herself really comfortable and feel like she's at home with, Aichi and the rest of the team is a really great thing to say. I can't really say much for the other team just because of the fact that the person she was fighting against also had a very good reason and something that gave her a lot of strength to win the match, because let's just say someone else on the team was very jealous, and she was being very competitive, and she had no reason to, really hold back or anything like that. So, both of them were going at it the best they can. And, throughout the match, there was this one thing that really stood out to me, and that was when Corin, towards the end of the match, she had a card, and she didn't even flip it up to see the card, but she instantly somehow knew exactly what the card was. Now, this may seem to be something very small, because, somehow she just knew exactly what it was without flipping or anything like that. And it was in one big scene, so it wasn't just like jump cut edited or anything like that. And to see her know exactly what it was and use it and everything really stood out to me. Now, I know this is not supposed to be realistic or based upon real life or anything like that, and there's always going to be those minor things that aren't very realistic, but, I really don't care very much about that stuff. But when it's something that, is this kind of stupid or big of a mistake or something like that, it's something that can be distracting. And, I don't want them to just keep on doing this mistake, because, sometimes when things like this happen, they end up not learning, or they don't pick up from their mistakes, and I don't want them to see them just keep on doing this, because even though this is a small thing, it can easily become repetitive, and some people might get annoyed with it. And, I want them to do their absolute best on this anime and do their best job, and I don't want them to start slacking off and just, start making that something that is just completely, exceptional or something like that, because some people will find it annoying, or just over time, it might eventually become annoying for a lot of people. And, I just hope that they pick up and they learn from their mistake, and they, try to make sure that they don't do the same mistake again. And if they do, then that's really great, and that's all I really need to know. And, seeing as she lost the match, it really didn't surprise me too much, but I was happy to see that she was able to really put in all she got, down to the very last card, all the way into the end, and she just really gave it all she got. And, it was a crazy match, but, considering that both players had really good reasons not to hold back and to win the match, it was a really tough one, actually. And, when we started getting to Aichi's match, against Rin, which this was the obvious, just because they're both like the top players on their team, And when we started getting to this, I was a little bit surprised to see that, Aichi was getting a little bit nervous at first. And when they were actually fighting, I was happy to see that they actually were talking with each other. And they were just talking about how much they enjoy fighting each other just because they're both at such a high level. And they both just have so much passion for it and they both enjoy it so much. And they're both just really, really strong card fighters. It's one of those things that, I'm really happy to see that they, both at least enjoy it. And the interesting fact that they're actually both using very similar decks because, of course, Aichi's using the Royal Paladins, and I can't quite remember the name for, what Ren's using, sorry about that. But let's just say the dark version of the Royal Paladins, that was something definitely worth considering. And, it came to be very, very interesting thing for the match just because it felt like they were both taking turns, basically doing the exact same thing as the other person did, because they had very similar creatures, and because of that, they were making the same moves for the most part, and because that became, I feel like, a very important factor of, like, whose turn was which or something like that, As long as you're just one move ahead of the other person, you're absolutely going to win because you'll know exactly what they do because you're using very similar decks overall. But the thing that really surprised me was to see that towards the very end especially, he started getting really weak in, Aichi, and started really, really giving up and not, getting back up as much as he would, and not, fighting as strong as you would normally expect him to. And to see him lose the match overall was a really big disappointment. And I know that it was something that, wouldn't be too hard to imagine and might become too expected. But considering that some of the most recent matches that he's been in with some other people, and just how insanely lucky he's been, like, I'm not kidding, there was a bunch of matches that he was just insanely lucky, and he just got, like, critical triggers, like, 4 or 5 times in one card fight, and it was just insane the amount of luck he was having, and there was a couple of times where he should have lost, and I know he's the main character, but there were some of them where he simply should have lost, and it was just pure luck, at that point, not saying he's not skilled or anything like that. And to see this match in particular, to see him lose it, it was a very big disappointment, and I feel like they're getting messy in the way they organize things and the way they're doing the story, because I hope there's a good reason as to why Aichi actually lost, and I mean a really good reason, not just one of those things that they just wanted to do and then afterwards they're going to try to figure something out to help it make more sense or to fill in that void or something like that. I hope there's actually a good reason for it, and it's just one of those things that blew me away considering some of the most recent fights and how insanely lucky he's gotten, and also for the simple fact that some of the times throughout the match there was a few times where he didn't even check for a drive trigger. Like, he just really didn't, and there's a couple times when he could have intercepted. And it really surprised me, it felt like he wasn't really at his A game, and that just really became a really big, just a really big concern, especially in this match. He should have been in his absolute best, and even after the match, Ren said that, when he goes to the finals, it's going to be really hard to find someone as good as Aichi there. And, that kind of does worry me. But this goes into something else that I really loved, actually found interesting about this episode, and that is about Kai. Throughout the match, Kai, when he was watching Aichi and Ren fight each other, he really just got blown away by how much further they've came and how much stronger they've became, because, Kai was around the same level as them, if not then a little bit better than, both of them or just one of them, and he was just really, really strong. He was up there with them, and to see after, just not, well, throughout the story, quite a while, to see them come this far and get so far ahead of him and get so much stronger than him, it makes him feel really, really weak and start asking himself questions of why? What made me become so weak, or how did they become so much stronger than me? And I think this is going to be something that we're going to be seeing hopefully very soon, but I'm hoping we're going to be seeing something happen with Kai to make him even stronger. Maybe he's going to, do some crazy training, or he's going to, really look in depth and try to do his absolute best to come even better, because if he could start catching up to Aichi, that's going to be very interesting. And one of the things I'd love to note is that I feel like with his deck, compared to everyone else, he's changed it very, very little compared to most people. And because I think that's the one thing that's probably held him back a lot. And he's probably going to have to look for different strategies, different ways of doing things, and look more in depth into, okay, I need to focus more on this and consider this and all that stuff in order to truly become better. But, you know, with the way things are looking, I guess we're going to have to actually find out and see how things turn out. So I'd say these 2 episodes were actually pretty good overall, but as long as they don't make those big mistakes again, and as long as they start cleaning up and don't get so clunky or messy the way they're doing the story and how some things just really do not make sense no matter how you look at it, if they start doing better on that stuff, then I'll definitely be happy. And if there is a good reason as to why Aichi, you know, lost, because we know sometimes there's a good reason this stuff happens sometimes, and we end up learning later. And if there is a really good reason, then, you know, I'll be really, really happy to find out. And I'm really excited to see how things turn out for Kai. And I'm interested to see who Rin ends up fighting up in the finals, just because if Aichi's out of the game, then maybe we're going to be learning out about a new character or something like that. I guess we'll have to find out. But anyways, that's pretty much it for this review. Sorry for rambling on. You know, it's a review for 2 episodes, so it's going to kind of be a little bit longer than extensive than I normally would want it to be. I was hoping to get this to like 6 minutes. But I'm going to try to do more reviews for this series just because, you know, some of the series that I'm interested in have either died off, or they've ended, or they're waiting for a new season, or there's too many fillers, and just all this stuff. And, you know, I hope they release a new episode soon just because it's been about a month since they released them, at least on their channel. And maybe by the time this video gets uploaded, they'll finally be released. So, I guess that's pretty much it for this video. Thank you all again for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video.